Submitted for your approval. A fan-based show who encompasses the multi-twined multiverse of superheroes, villains, sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and action comedy. All whose genesis stems from the printed page of the comic book. At the logo streaming towards your head, you've just entered into Comics, Cons, and Beyond. Fans, how the hell are you? Welcome back to Comics, Cons, and Beyond as we continue our start of 2017. That's right. A new year, a new us, and new news. That's right. Let's get into it. As always, we're going to start off with comic book to screen shenanigans. And we have more continuing news. Good news for you. Adam, what you got?
I'd like to take a moment to talk about the newest interview with Ben Affleck about the Batman movie. You know, usually the interview, especially with a director and lead character, you're giving him, usually they're going on about how awesome it's going to be, what they expect. But it seems to be mostly this interview, he's just trying to combat all the negative theories and fan problems of this film. Like, he's trying to combat things such as they worry about the plot line and where they're going to take it, and if it's just to have another movie in the line to try to match up to Marvel.
It sounds like he's feeling the incredible pressure of a lot to live up to. I mean, especially with what he did with Batman vs. Superman, which I thought he did a good job. I really did.
Here's the best part about the movie, because Batman moved like Batman.
Yes.
Like, the rest of it you can just discard, because, you know...
You mean Batman ran like Batman?
Yeah. But he was wiggly, or wiggly's wrong. He was able to move his arms instead of just elbows and knees. Don't wrong. I loved the other Batman movies.
Yeah, Christian Bale. Yeah, no, that was one thing. The fight scenes were little. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just all shoulder shots, but he actually moved like the Batman that I expect him to be.
Assuming that it wasn't all CGI.
Oh, it had to be CGI.
Well, let's hope not. But he may be feeling that tremendous pressure from the fans as well as the studios. I mean, he has a lot to kind of live up to.
A lot of weight on his shoulders at this point. But DC in general has a lot of weight on their shoulders, and I think that you can kind of see that they've started releasing stills. We've seen Jason Momoa walking up out of the water and things like that. We know Wonder Woman's coming out, so we'll see kind of where this leads down at that point. There's been an interesting thing. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, out there, it's rumored to be Shazam. So
Black Adam.
We're gonna see where that winds up running into it. I'm a little excited to see if he can wind up being in a serious role at this point, because I don't think I've ever seen him in anything that's kind of like not Fast and Furious-y at this point. Plays off the fact that he looks like a brick house.
Hey, it works for him. Why not?
Right?
Yeah. But so, in the interviews with Ben Affleck, thank you. Is it because that I don't even know how to formulate. My brain has failed me once again.
There's terrible memes of him out there, and like that being one of the ones that they play that song to, where he just zones out during an interview and zooms in on his face. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, DC's kind of got its bad rap for these movies. Kind of Suicide Squad was not as big as I think they thought it was going to be. Jared Leto was not happy with it. No. And they've released a ton of extra content with the actual movie's release with that. So, it's not undeserved, the criticism that they're getting, because I think it's just rushed. Honestly, I think it's really what it comes down to. They want to catch up to...
But he's taking more control of it, and he's slowing the production down just to make sure that he doesn't screw it up.
Yeah, and I get that. I definitely get that. Yeah. It's just one of those things where I think that for some reason they feel like they're under a time crunch and they want to be competitive. And it's like, if Pepsi and Coke were in running, but Pepsi came out 20 years later, and they're like, yeah, look at our Coke, it's great. So
it bubbles too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So,
well, hopefully he can get over it and understand that us, the fans, we're really behind him. We really want him to succeed, and we want him to crank out something that not only is he going to be satisfied with, but will be satisfied with. And hopefully once that happens, the pressure will be taken off of him and he can breathe and have maybe more creative freedom to continue on with the series.
Absolutely.
May I pose you guys a question?
Yeah.
What supervillain of Batman would you like to see in a Batman film that hasn't been in there yet?
Wow.
Like, me personally, Clayface.
I actually was just thinking about that.
Yeah?
And I kind of do, but there's a lot of other characters I think I'd want to see. The Riddler, again. I mean, if it's done right.
You
Like
don't count those ones.
Scarecrow or Man-Bat for me, because those guys are great villains and they haven't gotten enough.
Well, Scarecrow was recently in it though. He was in the first Batman.
Well, I know, and actually the
cool.
reoccurrence of the character in the other two movies,
Yeah, that was funny.
that was brilliant. But
So sad.
I thought they could have done more with him, and I liked him as a character as well.
Scarecrow's awesome.
He did, yeah,
Yeah.
did really well.
Two-Face. I mean, like we could see another one. Two-Face. I feel like Two-Face was good. It was really good in that movie.
Yeah,
But it was like right at the end. You know what I mean? And it was just kind of like, rah.
Yeah,
you know, like
you didn't
here
get to
he
see
is.
his whole complete fall from
Yeah.
grace. You just saw that part.
He's a
where he
really,
begins.
really in-depth character that is wind up having a relationship with actual Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, Long
and there's-
Halloween. That was such a great
Yeah.
story.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, I think that they really, now that I think about it, a lot of the characters are actually pretty much a nail on the head. We haven't seen Ivy really since,
Uma Thurman's.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
kind of see. Obviously, there's, what's her face is Catwoman. I don't like that actress.
Halle Berry.
No, well,
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Oh,
But she
God.
did a good job
I just
though
don't
for
like-
that interpretation. But no one can replace Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. I mean, come on, she nailed it. That
purred.
was
She
Catwoman.
purred when she
Oh
talked.
God,
That
yeah,
just-
that was
Ah.
awesome. And plus, she was sexy as hell.
Uh,
such a
Michelle
cool racial-
Pfeiffer, she was hot.
Yeah,
Oh,
not
yeah.
denying that.
Yeah. True.
all right, down, boys, down. But another thing is that they actually wound up releasing the actual cast of the Defenders. They've got pictures of them together, and we know that Iron Fist is coming out.
Yes,
But it's
yes.
nice to see that, obviously beyond that short little brief, like almost exactly Marvel as it comes onto the screen in every Marvel movie where the comic books are flipping and then it shows the Defenders instead kind of thing, where the trailer that they have for that. It's nice to actually see all four of them on.
Yeah.
And then again, I'm kind of interested to see how this is going to wind up tying into the
Rest of the
actual
universe?
Marvel universe,
Yeah.
like the movie MCU, as it were.
Yeah. Well, again, if all the studios can play nice together and realize that everybody's going to benefit by playing nice together, we might be able to see more, kick-ass streaming on Netflix with the Marvel universe expanding and bigger budgets.
I want to see Moon Knight. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all
That's
you
all
need.
I want to say.
Have you guys checked anything for that show, Powerless?
Huh.
So it's a DC comedy. It's about people who work in Wayne Tech who do R&D for everyday people for self-defense against supervillains and superheroes. Yeah, exactly. Shit looks pretty
Yeah,
clever.
we'll check that out.
What's the thing? Like, did you watch that show? Was it Better Off Ted?
Better
Yeah,
Off
I
Dead?
love that show.
Yeah, that's why I hope it's gonna be like that show. Better Off Ted was awesome. This dude was a leader at a horrible, evil corporation, and he was trying to be moral amongst all of his evil scientists. The show was spectacular. If they
It
could
was.
achieve-
I forgot about that. It's been a long, long time.
Sorry, sidetracked.
That's all right.
No?
We get sidetracked quite a bit here. I know we concentrate a lot of what we talk about on the major two publishers. It's hard not to because they're the ones that are just blowing up in the media and everybody knows besides comic book fans. There are literally hundreds of publishers out there. There really are. So again, visit your favorite comic book store here. Yesteryear Comic, if you're in San Diego, California, this is where we get our comics, and it's in Claremont. So Yesteryear Comics, come on down, talk to Mike. He'll school you on what's awesome. So for publishers in publishing news in the universe of comics, what is happening right now?
Right now, I'm really into an image series. I'm unfortunately starting from the beginning, so I'm way behind on what's in the most current series, but I'm enjoying it for artwork and story. There's one called Black Science. It's kind of like imagine a version of that show Sliders, except everyone in every universe is trying to kill you pretty much with the most horrible sharp hammers they can find. It's a dark, dark story, but it's great because the characters are never in their comfort zone, and they're up against the most stacked odds, and no one is safe in the entire series. Like, no character, and they also don't die graceful deaths. Like, of the main crew, it's a horrible thing, but it's cool because you see them trying to adapt to these worlds as they come across them. And the artwork is amazing, just straight up amazing. Because each one's a completely different vision of what a world could be. And I don't mean just simple sliders like, in this world everyone is, has 2 left feet. No, I mean it's like one of the worlds they come across is there's 3 predominant races that are in the middle of like a genocide war. Like there's a fish people, there's a lizard people, and then there's the one lowly mammal. And so the main character is trying to pin them against each other to recover his own children. It's a great storyline. It drifts between time and different universes. It makes no sense, but it's great to see them try to interact with it.
Sounds like a Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Rick and Morty's a serious storyline.
Which is going to be coming out here soon, second season.
Yes.
Or is it third season now?
No, third season, yeah.
I apologize.
You should.
I know. Hopefully they just won't be teleporting my universe here soon. Well, as far as comic books go for me, the one that I've already mentioned, if anyone who's kind of followed us beforehand and seen Ben, one that he got me into is East to West. And if anyone's familiar with that, basically it's all 4 of the Horsemen Apocalypse. 3 of them are basically trying to kill one of them, being Death. And it's very like religious evangelical meets kind of post-apocalyptic, like Chinese culture, Western culture, Native American culture kind of thing. It's very artistic. A lot of people say it's kind of hard to get started into, yourself included, Adam, I believe.
I quit on it, but I'll try to pick it up again because it's getting so much praise online.
It really is.
On and on about. I'm like, okay, I do love westerns, and this is honestly, it feels like almost a Dark Tower-ish series. Like,
it is very
guns and magic. Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah,
but
definitely good combination.
Desolate as I would use the culture and the comic book is very desolate. A lot of like you can tell the overburden of like the post-apocalyptic environment that everybody's in, and obviously death is just a force to be reckoned with. You know, that's great. Nail Biters, another one that's if anyone's really kind of involved in kind of thriller and detective comic books, kind of very, very good, very kind of keeps you on a point where you're like, what happens next kind of thing. I love it. I've unfortunately been following the trade paperback, so I'm not like up to the exact point where I need to be, but definitely very, very good. And then one that I haven't started reading yet, but something it's always held particularly love for the art in is The Darkness, which is coming out, or what that I plan on picking up, not coming out. I apologize. It's been out for a while. So I want to pick it up, and probably want to mention that to you guys a little bit later to let you know what my turnaround is. Obviously, it's a gentleman who winds up being in the mafia, who comes to have some powers, basically, that control like darkness.
Host almost.
Yeah.
So I like this because it's like it has a will of its own. He's like guiding it to his own means.
Yep, and there has like little trolley characters that are rolling around with him. It's pretty interesting. So I'll keep you guys posted on that one for sure.
And you said that it was a game as well that you were playing.
Yep, a game's actually kind of what got me involved. But beforehand, as I was mentioning to you guys, there was they had an Alien vs. Predator, Witchblade, and the Darkness crossover from a long, long time ago that I wound up reading. And I did love the art. Obviously, I never wound up getting more on the Witchblade portion of it, but there's actually a TV show that they wound up airing a long time ago that was Witchblade.
Yes. And that was a part of that whole, oh my God. Was that when CW first started?
Something like that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It was like that.
Back in the 90s.
It very had that Hercules kind of feel, like, you know, it's kind of like comedic kind of filming. So it's definitely something I want to kind of get involved in. See the publisher being Top Cow. So that's something that we'll be.
And actually, they're a major presence every year at Comic-Con and the other comic conventions. Top Cow, you don't hear much from them a long time. The Darkness was actually their like premier. Publication. And talk about the perfect segue. Let's go over to Jeremy in the gamers realm on what's happening in the gaming world. Jeremy, take it away.
Welcome to Gamers Realm, and sorry I couldn't be there, but thanks for the introduction. I'm Jeremy Gibbs for Comics, Cons, and Beyond. Let's get into the news. First off, we have Surge, an action RPG game coming out this year from Deck 13 Interactive, which was announced earlier last year at E3 as well as Gamescom. Not much is known. It is pushing out of alpha mode, but it will be released for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Next, we have a PS4 psychological horror game called The Town of Light. Now, this takes place in Tuscany, Italy, in the actual asylum of Volterra Psychiatric Asylum. Now, this asylum is a true place and has been closed for many years since 1978 for their practices being too cruel upon the patients. My first instinct was Outlast. I thought of Outlast right away. Hopefully it's going to be scarier and have a great story to go along with it. Next, we have something from Gabe Newell. Some news. No, not pertaining to Half-Life 3. He dodged every question of it. But he hosted a Ask Me Anything on Reddit earlier this week. And many questions were solved. Many questions were dodged. But one thing we do know is that there will be a new controller called the Knuckle controller that pairs up with the Oculus Rift to give a more surreal virtual reality experience. Plus, there will be new single-player games coming out from Valve in the near future. Next up, we have Overwatch. Overwatch has a player that has been banned in chat for a long time, actually, and keeps finding the appeals, thankfully winning. But the reason why he's been banned is because he's breaking the meta of a triple tank team and only playing Widowmaker. He is disgusted with people calling champions, well, heroes, such as Widowmaker and Mercy and other ones as trolls and useless. He's disgusted by it and keeps playing Widowmaker, and good for him. Lastly, we have League. The NALCS Spring Split has started, and we will have TSM versus Cloud9. That's the only team I'm looking forward to. Is the only matchup is Cloud9 versus TSM. I'm gonna watch everything else. I am excited. You can tell because I love Cloud9, I love TSM, and they went at it at Summer Split, and TSM won, so I'm hoping that Cloud9 can come back from it, but I also want TSM to win. I'm really torn. But anyways, that's it for me. Let's toss it back to the comic book shop. Thanks you guys for watching, and I'm Jeremy Gibbs for Comic Cons Beyond.
All right, well, thank you, Jeremy. That was awesome as usual. How should we wrap up? Gosh, the conundrum. How should we wrap up this episode?
With knowledge.
Yes,
right.
Because knowing is half the battle.
Well, I know that I'm excited for Alien.
Ooh, yes.
I hope they get the exact same feel. Because of Prometheus, they managed to mimic the feel of the first films so perfectly, of the set design and just the claustrophobia and the sterile environment that they live in.
I don't think anyone's going to be concerned about whether or not it's going to be a complete mind. It's going to be absolutely.
I'm not concerned about that.
Yeah,
no.
it's going to be crazy. I mean, obviously, because I was talking to you about this earlier, Adam, is that most often they kind of feel like there's like a general moral, you know, at the end of the film. Like, I feel like Prometheus was kind of dealing with humanity and definition of God and that kind of thing. So we'll see if that one has that or if it's going to continue that, because obviously we know that Naomi Rapace kind of left for the engineer homeworld or whatever it is that's going on with that. But always visually stimulating.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I mean, that's something that is consistent.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys for, showing up again. We appreciate your time. As always, subscribe, like the videos, leave us a comment, and tell us what you would like us to talk about. Because at the end of the day, we love doing this for us, but we're doing it for you, and we love you fans. So, have a happy, as usual. I am Lawrence.
I'm Bob.
Adam.
And we shall see you next time.